This is our colliery, somewhere in the Midlands. The wheels turn 24 hours of the day. This is our colliery as you would see it. But the real coal mine is underground. A great network of road tunnels driven deep into the earth under villages and woods and farms. This is our pit. From the twin shafts, pairs of roads lead out 2, 3, even 4 miles to the coal faces. Half these roads take fresh air in, the other half return it to the surface. Through these same roads, coal comes out, and men and materials go in. Air and men and coal. And on the coal faces, men and coal and machines. 24 hours of the day. But of all the things that count in the pit, the most important are men. Men like the colliery fire officer, who has done his job here for 17 years, installing fire equipment and giving instruction in its use, on this day as every day. And evening came. It was October the 13th. The afternoon shift came out. The night shift got into the cages to go down. In they went, miles in by, to the workings. 41s, 57s, 67s, 69s. Another shift begun. And above ground, the men whose work was done relaxed. In the miners' club and in their homes.
There's a fire on 69s! A fire on 69s!
A fire on 69, and that was all. I was the senior overman on the night shift, but I was near pit bottom when they told me, and 69's workings was in the low seam 2 miles away. I went into the roadway where the air from the low seam returned. It was smoke, all right, 2 miles from 69's. There were scores of men down there, and there was no time to lose. Three bells mean all men out of the pit along the fresh air roads. Everyone out except the key men we may need. Up there in the village, they don't know yet, but they soon will. We were getting the men out, all right, but no more news from 69.
There were only 3 men in 69's itself. Sam Hallam was one of them. He'd come to the fresh air side of the fire to see what he could do. He went down into the cross roadway, through the doors that shut off the fresh air from the return. Without breathing apparatus, it was the only way to the fire. might as well spit on it as use the extinguishers. So he went back to the road junction. There were 2 lengths of hose at the hydrant there, as at every hydrant, and Sam knew how to use them. Then the deputy came in from 67s, after getting all his men out. And Jack Ball came with Ted Hyde, the 3rd and last man off 69. All of these men had had some training. There was plenty they could do, and they got on with it. Above ground, the emergency plan was working. The colliery manager took charge as soon as he arrived. This was 69's. A new coalface, a half-finished overcast, fresh air coming in here, the return air here. Between, the cross roadway, 100 yards long, and in it, the fire. They knew someone was holding the back of the fire, but if the front of the fire got into the return, the whole low seam might be lost. And only the rescue brigade could stop it. At the rescue station, 10 miles away, the bells had gone down. Within 90 seconds, the rescue van was on the road. In 90 seconds, the time it took to run the hose out through the first door. They must keep these doors closed and intact so that the fresh air could not sweep through and fan the flames. As the water came on, the underground fireman arrived. He had brought in a breaching piece and another length of hose. They'd made a pretty fair start, and above ground, more help was on the way. Emergency water supplies were checked, brigade was on the road, and at the threatened doors, they'd got another hose on. But the fire was driving back at them and getting worse. Heavy smoke, gas, fierce heat forced them to retreat. More help must come down. The first rescue brigade had arrived, bringing the apparatus that would take them round to the front of the fire. And the fire officer was ready to go down with them. Back of the fire, they were holding the doors, but no more. Then the senior overman reached them. He'd come straight in, the 2 miles from pit bottom.
And they were glad to see me. They'd kept their heads all right, but the situation was pretty bad. And it'd get worse if we lost this second door. Possible must be done to stop the flames spreading on this side. It seemed a long time before the rescue team arrived, but they'd covered the 2 miles from pit bottom in less than 40 minutes. With them, our manager and the fire officer. They were eager to get at the fire. I told the manager and the superintendent of the rescue team all I knew, and I drew a plan for them. Now, this is where we were. between the main fresh air road and the return. Now, these were the ventilation doors, and now the fire filled at least 30 yards of road. We were fighting it from behind the second door down. But the real and mounting danger was at the other end. Had the front of the fire got out into the return, our plan must be to box the mass of flames in. That meant that the rescue team would have to get around by another cross roadway and come back down the return. With luck, we might check the fire at the junction on the other side. But we would have to hurry. At the other end, only men in breathing apparatus could live. I was asked to put on dress to go in with the rescue team. I was trained to use this apparatus, and I knew the workings like the back of my hand. Fred would go in with us, too. With him, his canary, to give us warning of gas. His friend and ours, and as well looked after as any man. Speed, but not haste. Apparatus inspected, the time noted. Leaving orders for more hose to be got and sent around after us, we set off. Men in apparatus leading. We might be in time. The lights in the village will be going out. Some may be up waiting for news. But the only sign at Bank will be the smoke coming out and number 2 stopped winding. We reached the ventilation doors on the return side after about 20 minutes hard going. No sign yet of the fire. Through the last door. Thick smoke backing up, and the inevitable and deadly carbon monoxide gas with it. We were living on our apparatus now. Those without apparatus must wait behind, and Fred could take the lead.
Expect the fire officer to know just what to do. But the real thing's not much like a practice turnout. This wasn't anyways. The flames were nearly into the return. The one hydrant up the road was in the middle of them. All we had to go on with was 2 buckets and 2 extinguishers. Cooled down the roof, and then we had a bit of luck. Water from the hoses at the back of the fire had run through along the floor between the tub rails. We used the buckets as scoops and chucked it at the flames. Flame proper sandcastles. But without hose, we'd get nowhere. The nearest hydrant we could use was about 200 yards away. So I went off to check it and measure the distance for hose. The lads would have to hold the fire till we got hose off. Behind us, the manager and the superintendent had decided to short-circuit the air on this side. They opened the doors and pulled down the braddy sheet. This might mean danger further in, but at the fire, the air would blow away the smoke and the gas with it. At least the lads could take off their apparatus. A big relief in heat at 140 degrees. And for the first time, we could really see the fire. 50 yards of solid flame.
never seen anything like this. Fred reported plenty of water pressure at the hydrant, but at least 10 lengths of extra hose would be needed. No hose had yet come round, so the manager went back himself to hurry it along. Until the hose came, we'd just have to hang on. No sign of gas so far.
At the back of the fire, everything was more or less under control. A second rescue team had come in and taken over. But when the manager reappeared at the fresh air junction, he found that they'd failed to order up the extra hose. Taking all spare hands, he went himself to get it. The manager and his party had found the hose all right and brought it up to the fresh air junction. But they still had another 1,000 yards to go, and most of that on their hands and knees.
Then the first length came. And another. They'd made it. Plenty of water and 200 yards of good hose. Once we had the water on, we knew we'd win.
At dawn, the fire officer brought his canary out of the pit. A fire like that could have been a disaster. Disasters make headlines. But when we beat the fire, it's not news. It's just an incident. Our job is to see that only incidents happen, and that the wheels go on turning 24 hours of the day.